Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction, haunted entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. Mm-hmm. And surprise, we're on time this week, on time-ish.
Yeah. Well, we're recording the day of, but
we're recording late, but that is owed more due to illness than anything else. I have fallen a bit under the weather.
Yeah.
If my voice sounds gruffier or sexier or snottier or just different in any appreciable way, that's why. It's not a bad cold for me. It's mostly a sore throat.
Yeah.
It seems to have completely leveled Ellie, though.
Yeah.
But I am actually just suffering from the ill effects of a sore throat and a little nasal congestion. Others seem to be getting it worse. So yeah. I'm truly lucky with this. But if my voice does sound sexier this week, you can let me know at hauntweekly.com. We're also at Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook. tinyurl.com/hauntweekly is our YouTube channel. All previous episodes are there for easy listening. We're also on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast. We've probably got you covered.
Mm-hmm. And if we don't, you can still let us know.
Let us know and we'll get it in there.
Yes, let us know where we should be added.
We should be just about everywhere. I put a lot of work into that. But if we're not, let us know what we screwed up. You can Haunt Weekly, Twitter, Haunt Weekly, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. I'm not doing the whole thing.
No.
Well, last week we were late, and the reason was because we attended a Sunday night showing of the Paranormal Cirque. Right. Which I believe had its last performance in New Orleans yesterday from the recording. Sunday at about the same time. So, and we got immediately a lot of requests to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Now, we'd already planned on that, but last week was a news episode, and so we had to do the news.
Exactly.
But now we have our choice of topic, if you will. And so we are using it to talk about Paranormal Cirque. And specifically, we're not just going to be focusing on the experience, but also about lessons that haunters can learn from it. Right. About the Paranormal Cirque as a haunted attraction, which it is, at least in part, even though I think that part's going to be very disappointing in the upcoming conversation. And other stuff. So we're going to try to keep this focused on the haunt industry, but talking about this very interesting, very unusual attraction that seems to be getting a lot of curiosity and a lot of buzz. Yeah. But first thing is first, it's time to do the conference reminders. It's an odd episode. Crystal, start us off.
Right, May 10th through the 12th, it's West Coast Haunters Convention in Portland, Oregon, at the DoubleTree Hotel, Portland. Touring Nightmare Factory Haunted House also includes a costume ball, a silent auction, and the Nightmare After West Coast Haunters Convention Film Festival with secret selection of films. Shh. HauntersConvention.com.
All right. After that, May 17th through the 19th, it's the Ohio Halloween and Haunters Convention at the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. They'll be touring 6 different haunted attractions, a pre-show of Hauntville, the Hudson House and Haunted Hydro, and during the weekend itself, it'll be Blood Prison, Lessons in Fear, and Trail of Nightmares. There'll be a Freakers Ball costume party, a ghost hunt, and more. All of it at Ohio Halloween and Haunters Convention.com.
Okay, June 7th through the 9th, it's Midwest Haunters Convention in Schaumburg, Illinois. It will be at the Renaissance Schaumburg Convention Center Hotel. They will be touring Dead Rising, Midnight Terror, Massacre, Basement of the Dead, and Hell's Gate, all of which are excellent.
Yes, 5 very different, but all very good haunts.
Yes, MidwestHauntersConvention.com for more info.
All right, after that, June 20... voice just went prepubescent on me. What the hell was that? Mm-hmm. June 21st through the 23rd, it's Michigan Haunt Fest at the Oaks Campground in Munich, Michigan, featuring Make and Takes, a campsite decorating contest, and a pancake breakfast. Some of the proceeds will benefit the Humane Society. MichiganHauntFest.weebly.com.
Okay, July 27th, it's Haunter Horde Gathering in Mount Carroll, Illinois at the Mount Carroll Bowling Center. They will be touring Ravens Grin Inn. There will be an auction for Scares That Care and Don't Be a Monster. Free pizza and paid for booze with your admission of $5. $5 for the free pizza and the admission. You have to pay for your booze.
Yes.
They will be touring Ravens Grin Inn for an additional $15, haunterhorde.com, to check out all of the different things
going on there. And finally, this week, July 27th through the 28th, at the Mesquite Convention Center in Mesquite, Texas, is the Texas Haunters Convention, featuring a meet and greet and a costume ball. TexasHauntersConvention.com for more details. And if you are interested in vending there, I would jump on it. Their slots are filling up fast. And it looks like it's going to be a really good talk. I wish we could go.
Yeah, I do too, because I really want some skirts from Ghoulish Garments.
And we had a great time at Halloween Haunt Fest, which was, a lot of the same people are involved with this.
Yeah.
And it was a really great conference and a really great location, but unfortunately the really great location comes with an allergen.
Yeah.
It just sucks. It's really unfortunate.
It does.
You should go in our stead, represent us, wear your non-existent Haunt Weekly swag. We need to get some swag.
We do. People have asked.
People have asked. We need to actually get some stickers and some stuff. We need to get that made. But yeah, wear your non-existent swag and represent it for us if you can't go. And pour one out for those who can't attend, namely us.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now, I went into our show notes, our archives a little bit.
Yeah.
And we have actually covered Paranormal Cirque before. Mm-hmm. It was episode 132, which was a news episode. And it was way, way back in June 2018, so almost a year ago now.
Right.
Basically, we covered a local news story talking about the circus coming to town and how they had a haunted house as part of the experience. Namely, as supposedly as you were being let in, you would pass through a haunted attraction. Right. Now, at the time, we were very skeptical of this idea. Mm-hmm. Because you and I know the struggles of haunting and throughput. Right. And we just immediately had nightmares about trying to fill a stadium full of people. Yeah. After running them through a haunted house. Yeah.
Well, and there's also the question of, are circus goers likely to be haunted house goers too?
Yeah. So. Does it all fit together well? Yeah. So yeah, we were very skeptical. We had a lot of reasons to be skeptical, and we're going to come back to that later. But if you want to see the full coverage we've had on Paranormal Cirque, go back. Episode 132 is the one you want to check out. Okay. Or you could just simply, Google Haunt Weekly plus Paranormal Cirque and find it that way. It's pretty much what I did. Just saying, it can happen. Yeah. All right. Some quick background on it for those who did not know. Paranormal Cirque is actually part of Cirque Italia. This is an Italian organization. Right. Now, Cirque Italia, and I did not know this, is also, they have two touring groups, but they are best known as the Water Circus. Right. They basically combine more traditional circus acts with water features and gimmicks. Mm-hmm. And they have two touring groups, a blue and a gold, and you can go on their site and see where the heck they're going to be. They're more right now like it looks like they're more in like the Midwest area. Gotcha. Where Paranormal Cirque is Louisiana and heading into Arkansas right now. Yeah. So something to think about. But it's also marketed very differently. The Cirque Italia tent is bright white. Uh-huh. It's a gorgeous looking tent, but it is like the stark white. Yeah. And long story short, it's a family friendly show is the idea. This is bring the kids, bring everyone. Yeah. Paranormal Cirque is not those things. No, it's not. To begin with, their tent is black and red. It looks equally awesome and imposing. Yes. But much more to my taste, personally, I'll say that. But yeah, the Paranormal Cirque has the black and red tent and does not in any way bill itself as a family-friendly experience. In fact, children under the age of 13 are not allowed, full stop. Yeah. You can't bring your 12-year-old in. And 13 to 17-year-olds are welcome, but they have to have a parent or guardian over the age of 21. Yeah. Which, that seems a little crazy to me that a 17-year-old can come with a 21-year-old guardian. Yeah. I'm just throwing that one out. That seems a little odd. Well, it's kind of like R-rated movies, That's true. It's the same type of deal. And even though, of course, they don't have an MPAA rating because they're not a movie, they claim to be R-rated. Right. Which I don't know how the MPAA feels about the use of their rating in that capacity. Yeah. Well, it's something that, everybody understands. Yeah. I understand why they said it, but it's still, those are actually trademarked and owned by the MPAA. Yeah. So it might be a problem. But anyways, no one under 13 is admitted. This circus does not involve water in any way that I could recall. No. And there's tons of crew language, sexual humor, so on and so forth. But basically, the general MO of this organization is to travel the country week by week. And it's kind of weird because, well, they do it in, I counted 10 tractor trailers. There may have been more, but I counted 10.
Yeah.
So it's at least 10, probably more. And a gaggle of RVs, I'm assuming is the performers and the other people who work on it.
Right.
But the way they typically work is they spend one weekend in town. They hold a show Thursday, a show Friday, 2 shows Saturday, and 2 shows Sunday. Mm-hmm. For a total of 6 shows, because I can't count, as I just realized in the show notes. That's actually 6 shows, Jonathan, over 4 days, not 10. I don't know why I put 10 down. But anyways, but in bigger places, like when they came to New Orleans, they had 2 weekends.
Right.
But they're next, I think they're hitting Lafayette.
Yeah.
I think it's next. It's Lafayette, then Lake Charles, and Alexandria. Each of those towns gets just 1 weekend.
Yeah. Which is pretty appropriate.
Yeah. Size alone, I think, indicates it. Now, technically, they weren't in New Orleans. They were in Gretna.
Right.
Which is its whole own thing. But that worked well for us.
Yeah.
Because where we live, that was basically like right down the road.
Exactly.
It was real easy for us to get to.
Yeah.
It was really easy for us to get to. But yeah, I can imagine there were some East Bankers a little skeptical about crossing the big scary bridge that divides the city.
Well, that always happens, but I think it's becoming more and more common.
Especially now that we don't have the tolls on the bridge, it's becoming more and more common.
Yeah.
And
we haven't had the tolls for a little while.
Yeah, I know, but people still have that mindset.
I know.
But also, I think people do come to the West Bank for special events and special things, and this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, there were lots of people at the oddities market last September.
Exactly. I don't think this was a real hindrance. I'm mostly joking.
Yeah.
But yeah. But they do that. They do either 6 or 12 shows, and then they leave. Mm-hmm. They go to the next town. I would be very interested in like a documentary or something about how they do the tear down and rebuild.
Yeah.
Because the last show ends at like 10:30 on Sunday, and they are set up in the next town in time for an 8:30 Thursday show. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Really, and part of the day Thursday to tear it down, move it, and set it back up.
Yeah.
That's damned impressive.
It is. I think that's, well, obviously it's enough time. They plan
it. They do it. They succeed in doing it.
They do it. Exactly.
But it's still impressive. It's a feat of logistics. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm very impressed by it. But yeah. So that's kind of the thing, is you have to keep an eye where they're going to be and when they're going to be there. Mm-hmm. And I would advise you to follow their website, Paranormal Cirque. That's paranormal, as spelled, CRRQUE.com, to get the latest tour information. They don't have anything past the Arkansas dates, so it's nothing they have listed past 6 weeks, but they say they're constantly adding dates. So
yeah,
just keep an eye on the site would be my advice. Mm-hmm. But anyways, we wanted to talk about the experience, and then we're going to backtrack. We're going to give advice to people who are going to go to it or want to go to it. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to talk about lessons for haunters.
Yeah.
That's the general idea of what's going to happen over the next 40-ish minutes of this podcast. Mm-hmm. Make sense?
It does.
All right. I wanted to start the conversation with what we noticed before they ever arrived. Mm-hmm. Before they even got into town, which was the promotion and marketing.
Right.
They have a very interesting marketing strategy, which is, I could find no evidence they have ever used television, radio, newspaper spots, any traditional advertising.
Yeah. Now, I have seen them give thanks to people having them on a microphone, like for a radio station.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it was radio or podcast.
But and it's also probably not paid time either.
No, it's not. It's interview type things.
Yeah, they're not doing, and that's part of the PR blitz, I suspect.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not.
You'll
paid
see
spots.
them. You'll see them on TV. Read about them in the paper, but it's because they do mostly a PR campaign.
Yeah.
They work with local media to advertise themselves without paying for the spots, and they mix that with a strong social media campaign.
Right.
We were seeing social media ads for it when they were a pretty good distance away from us, about 2 or 3 weeks out.
Right. People, thanks, Japes, for letting us know that it was coming here, in addition to just seeing all of the other people posting about
Yeah,
it.
we got a lot of people posting about it. Japes, like you said, dropped us a line directly.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other people told us about it too. We heard about it, but honestly, all the people we heard about it from, we'd already seen it because we've been seeing the social media campaign.
Yeah.
And in fact, it was kind of weird. I think I saw a mention for their Lafayette show, which is after hours. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, crap, we can go to Lafayette for this.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly willing to drive. Oh, no, wait, they're coming to Gretna first.
Yeah.
We'll just go to that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much walk to that fucker. We can do that.
Yeah.
You know?
That'll save us some time.
No, we'll just go to Gretna. It's much easier. But no, we saw those spots and we saw the ads and so forth way, way, way in advance.
Yeah.
And it piqued our curiosity, obviously. And we remembered talking about it. And it's like, oh, it's actually coming by now. Mm-hmm. This should be really, really interesting. But you can tell what they do is, on the run-up to any of the shows, they do a PR blitz combined with a targeted geographic social media blitz.
Yeah.
And the goal here is basically to build word-of-mouth advertising. Mm-hmm. Because, and this is just something to know, it's like everyone was talking about this.
Yeah. Yeah, there were lots of people.
And I think
interested.
It works really well because this is something that is very unique and very limited. Mm-hmm. If they're only there for one weekend, like I said, you got 6 shows.
Yeah.
You miss those 6 shows, they literally pull up stakes and leave.
Exactly. Yeah, and with New Orleans having such a haunt culture, mm-hmm.
Not
only the haunted houses, but also haunted tours and
yeah.
people who are interested in more
macabre and paranormal,
type stuff. They're going to get an audience here.
Yeah, they definitely seem to have found one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the show that we were at was unfortunately at the same time as the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, which worked out great for us.
Yeah, it did. There were not a lot of people missing Game of Thrones to go to the show that we went to.
But yeah, we're gonna do the binge of Game of Thrones after it ends. By the way, we're not standing on some kind of principle about not watching Game of Thrones. We were going to watch Game of Thrones, but
yeah,
I can tell this is a show that I'm not going to want to wait to see for a season of.
Yeah,
you know, I know me. I know my level of patience.
Mm-hmm.
It's finite, very, very finite. But yeah, I mean, I remember we didn't do the Saturday show because there was something else going on, and it didn't really work out well time-wise for us.
Yeah.
But we slipped in at our local pub, our local bar, at about like 11 p.m.
Yeah. Just
to get a quick drink for heading back and going to bed, basically. And there was a lot of people. There was an unusually large amount for that time.
Right.
And we asked the bartender what was going on. He said, oh, yeah, they just all came in after going to the circus.
Yeah.
These were people who I know have never been to our haunted house.
Right. No.
We won a free haunted house literally blocks from this bar.
Yeah.
And blocks from where these people live. They've never been. Mm-hmm. Never had an interest in it.
No.
They sure as hell had an interest in the Paranormal Cirque, and then we had to kind of take our beers and go outside because we didn't want to hear too much about it before we went in.
Right, exactly.
Like, oh, that's what they're talking about. Shit. Well, there's a nice patio.
Yeah, let's go somewhere else.
We'll see. We'll be on the patio, George, if you need us.
Mm-hmm.
But they were really excited about it, so it clearly worked. It got out there, and I think one of the other things they do that's very smart, and I noticed this when we were there, was they have that very big tent.
Yes.
Very big, very obvious tent, very black and just a black and red tent that looks eerie as hell. Mm-hmm. And they put it in a mall parking lot. They typically set up in vacant spaces like mall parking lots.
Right.
But they set up on the side nearest the expressway.
Yeah.
If you're driving up the West Bank Expressway up and down, which is a very busy expressway in the city, you could see that tent.
Yeah.
And go, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Then you would look up, what the fuck is that?
Exactly.
And then you would find, what the fuck is that? And you might go to, what the fuck is that?
Exactly.
It was pretty simple and pretty brilliant. They used their giant physical presence as a means of doing kind of like outdoor advertising.
Yeah.
They didn't pay for any billboards. I never saw a billboard.
No.
But the tent was a billboard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and yes, it was very noticeable.
It was very, very noticeable. Now, obviously, some of this may not translate well to haunts, mm-hmm. because haunts have longer runs. Typically, they're open for 6 weeks with many more days. They also typically have a permanent or at least a semi-permanent location, so there's always the assumption they'll be back next year. But here's the thing. Will this strategy work as well for Paranormal Cirque when they return? I think so. And the reason is because they don't return every year.
Right. They were here last year.
No, they were?
That's what someone else told me.
Then how the hell did we not hear about it?
I don't know, but we heard about it this year.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it is owed to the Better Social Media campaign.
Yeah.
They've really been pushing it on Facebook. And like I said, and Facebook, for all of its flaws as an advertising platform, does encourage and engage that word-of-mouth promotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Being able to trivially share ads to friends, both on public Facebook and via Messenger and by private messaging,
right,
is amazing. They were also advertising on Instagram, I noticed. Mm-hmm. Which, similar thing. I mean, you can drop things in Instagram messages, reshare, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
It's really, really good advertising. But yeah, you don't really know when it's coming back.
Right.
Even if they do typically come back every year, there's no guarantee.
No, there's not.
So, yeah, I don't think, as long as their visits are spaced out enough or the show is different enough each time, I think the same thing can work repeatedly.
Right.
As long as the show changes or there's enough time and the quality remains high. I think they're going to be okay with it. But haunts, that's a little more difficult because when the haunt's opening, when the haunt's coming back around.
Yeah, this is true. But, you can do some of the same things, like have an awesome facade that people see whenever they're driving.
Yeah, especially if you have some kind of major highway nearby.
Yeah.
That gets a lot of traffic or something like that. You can turn your building into an actual outdoor advertising campaign. You can use social media to drive word of mouth, and you can try having shows that are unique. Maybe set aside a weekend for a very unique thing you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
This weekend only, we're doing this. Next weekend, this is a specialty. Build that FOMO up. Make people hesitant to miss what you're doing.
Right.
Do some awesome things and make them very limited run. I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing the success of like the Valentine's Day and the Christmas haunts and all that. Right. Is because they are so limited run. They're 2 to 3 nights usually. People don't want to miss that.
Well, and it's also that it's still a new phenomenon here in the U.S.
Novel, fear of missing out. Those are the two things. That's what Paranormal Cirque provides.
Exactly.
So pretty brilliant stuff. All right. Now we're going to get into the pre-show experience. Now, the site, when I bought the ticket, I swear to God, it said arrive 1 hour early.
Yeah.
Now it says 45 minutes. Okay, whatever. But either way, that's a bit early for me. Like I said, we did not have a particularly packed house.
No.
In fact, it was about, I would say, 80% empty.
Yeah.
This may need to change if you're going at a time where it's going to be popular. But if you're going up against the new season of Game of Thrones, you probably have less to worry about.
Right.
Did not even realize that when I booked the tickets.
No.
But regardless, the main thing is they don't have very much stuff to do in like their very initial area.
Right.
They had one food truck, 2 snack stands, which had the same things. Basically, it was popcorn, hot dogs, fair food,
Yeah.
or movie theater food is another way to think about it. Circus food.
Yeah.
Circus food. It's circus food.
Exactly.
And they had a souvenir souvenir stand. I'm sure there was a souvenir fan there too.
Yeah, they also had face painting.
Yes, if I forget about that, yes, there was a small face painting booth. I always, I forget about that because I had no interest in it whatsoever.
Yeah, but if you are planning on your whole group getting your faces painted or something, then you'll want to be there a little earlier.
It is worth noting they do not allow costumes or masks, but they will allow you to get your face painted there.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So that may be something you want to consider.
Yeah, we saw some of our friends leaving there from the show before us with the Pennywise face paint.
Yeah, but all in all, there's not a lot to do. So we had about 20 to 25 minutes, because we got there about an hour early. Had about damn near 30 minutes, honestly, of nothing to do.
Yeah.
Realistically, we got some popcorn, we got some drinks.
Yeah.
We looked at the souvenir stand 200 times. One thing that's worth noting, though, is there is no beer or alcohol sales at all.
Right.
This, at first, struck me as odd because they really heavily pitched this show as being 21 up.
Right.
It seemed like, well, then you should have beer,
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that's impossible with all the local liquor laws. It's not worth getting a liquor license like in Orleans Parish. I think they were in Jefferson Parish, weren't
Right.
they? Whatever parish they were in, they were right at the parish line. I forget which one Oakwood Mall's in, but they it's not worth getting a liquor license just to sell beer for 2 weeks.
Right. And I think it's probably more weird for us because we're in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And everywhere has alcohol.
Everywhere, literally. Well, most Chuck E. Cheese's have alcohol, don't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the ones here do. I know the ones in St. Louis from Ellie, but I don't know about any others.
But yeah, I mean, we're so used to alcohol being sold everywhere we go.
Yeah.
That it seemed odd to go to an event that was 21 and up, basically adult themed, and not have it as an option.
Right.
One piece of advice, and I'm going to go over it again later, there is no ATM in the place. Mm-hmm. They do have a quote-unquote ATM in the form of a cash box and a credit card machine.
Yeah.
But the prices are really, 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 really high.
Yeah. We
were able to walk to a nearby store and get the cash we wanted for a tiny fraction of the cost. That would have cost us, I think, $6 to get what we needed out. And we paid $1, I think, in transaction costs at Dollar General or whatever.
Yeah. Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree, whichever one it was. It was one of those dollar stores.
Yeah.
So yeah, we saved some cash that way, literally. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I wasn't very impressed by the souvenir stand. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Well, it had a lot of neat stuff. There was very little that was special or unique to the event.
Right, exactly. The only unique things were the T-shirts and underwear. I think they had underwear.
I think they had underwear too. I think
and
you're right.
ball caps.
Oh, they did have some hats. You're right.
Yeah, because I thought about getting one for my dad.
But they're going to be able to go in Alexandria. They can make the decision themselves then.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, they had a lot of neat stuff. They had like steampunk hats and goggles and things.
Yeah.
But it didn't really tie in any way I could figure out with what they were doing at Paranormal Cirque. And I've seen those exact same items. I mean, this is probably me as a haunter speaking now. But I've seen the exact same items at various costume shops and elsewhere locally at lower prices.
Right.
In fact, we used one of those goggles in the haunt a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Or last year. No, it was
last year.
It was last year.
Yeah.
God, time flies and stands still at the same time. It's creepy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. We have less than 200 days to Halloween.
Oh, God damn it. Shut your dickler.
Somebody pointed that out.
Oh, shut up.
Whatever
Shut
the
up.
day was.
Shut up.
It's like...
Shut up. But yeah, we ended up not buying any souvenirs personally. We couldn't find T-shirts we liked.
Yeah.
So we just kind of passed on it, which is a shame because I love buying shirts and things from places I go. It's a habit I picked up as a kid and have maintained in my adulthood.
Yeah, I was gonna get one, but they didn't actually have it in a size that would work for us either. So.
No. Okay.
All right.
Now, after about 20 minutes before the show, they throw open these big gates and let you into the big haunted house section, which is basically the path to go to the actual tent where the circus is.
Right.
The actual circus arena. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it was they kind of let everyone in at once.
Yeah.
They did the VIPs, I think, separately, but the most of the crowd went in one burst.
Yeah.
And that really seemed kind of weird to me. This is probably easily the largest group I've ever been in a haunted house with in my life.
Yeah. And haunted house is a stretch.
It is a stretch. It's a great stretch. There's not much to it. You walk in, there's a cemetery scene. There's some fog, some effects, some light effects. They have the guy cut in half on a table illusion.
Right.
And then there's one guy roaming around with a chainsaw. Mm-hmm. And there's also a pop-out in the hallway as you approach the stage. They have a little mini or labyrinth. It's technically a labyrinth that zigzags toward the actual entrance to the arena. And there's a pop-out there.
Yeah, and there was also Tiffany Manning, who we spoke to, was also doing her scares in the crowd in that area.
Yep. But yeah, it was not much of a haunted house. You were realistically in and out of it probably in under 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was a hallway to the big top. Yeah. And that's basically it.
With some scares and people trying to startle you in various ways.
Yeah, the pop-out did get me later on because I didn't realize that she stayed the entire show there.
Yeah. So you go for the bathroom later and
during intermission.
And you might get a little help going to the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah, on the way back from intermission, she got me.
Yeah. But it was, like I said, it wasn't much of a haunted house. But it also didn't break up the flow because of that.
Right.
People largely just walked to where they had to get their seat. What broke up the flow was everyone had to be escorted to their seats.
Yeah.
Because apparently no one understands the concept of assigned seating.
Yeah, well, we've seen that elsewhere.
Yes, we have in movie theaters lately. Mm-hmm. I swear to God, people, we covered assigned seating in elementary school. This is easy.
Yeah.
Why are you acting like it's so hard in 2019?
Yeah.
You bought a ticket with a seat on it. Sit in the goddamn seat of the ticket you bought. Mm-hmm. That's true at Paranormal Cirque. That's true in the movie theater. It's true anywhere that has assigned seating. Just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I forgot what I was saying. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was what broke up the flow more than anything. That said, the scares did continue after everyone was seated. Mm-hmm. The grandstands had places actors could reach underneath and grab ankles. The actors were playing with the attendees in the stands. Mm-hmm. And it was a pretty small crowd, so I think everyone got hit, so to speak. Everyone got targeted at least once, even us. Mm-hmm. And there were two actors I had to highlight. These two ladies stood out to me incredibly.
Yeah.
First was this raven-haired girl who just had an amazing presence.
Yeah.
She was tiny as hell. She was like 5'6" or so, and short, and probably weighed next to nothing. But she had a demeanor of someone who just means business.
Yeah.
And she's carrying like a foam wrench or hammer or something. I couldn't quite make out what it was.
Yeah, I can't quite remember what it was.
But it was like a foam weapon.
Yeah.
And she's just carrying it around, and like, that chick's scary.
Yeah.
Like you have to watch her. She has that kind of presence where you have to see her at every moment. You have to have your eyes on her. And then there was the opposite, which was the tall brunette girl who was doing the crawling sliding roll, who despite probably being a full foot taller than the other girl.
I think she was probably 6 feet.
Yeah, she was well over 6 feet. I think she was taller than me.
Yeah.
Despite being taller than one of the tallest people in the room, could hide anywhere.
Yeah. Very quiet and sneaky.
Very quiet, very sneaky. She did sliding/crawling and like snake-like shimmying on the ground.
Yeah.
And it really stood out, and it made me realize and appreciate just how much circus performer skills and haunter actor skills overlap sometimes. Right. That ability to command the attention of the crowd, or the ability to hide from the crowd.
And the ability to work with each other.
Yeah.
To grab the attention over here and then sneak up over there.
And that's exactly what they were doing. Was the raven-haired girl, like I said, I wish I'd gotten their names. They never said their names at any point in the show that I can recall.
No.
I would have been paying attention. But she would go to a section, like bang on the stands with a hammer thing, and everyone, all eyes on her, and the other girl would like loop around and
stare down people.
And stare them down, just grimace at them or flip them off or whatever. So like really get people's attention. The other girl would like loop around, come through, shimmy up the little foot area, and nail people that were looking the other way.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful team effort. And it was done full public view. It's just amazingly well done.
Yeah.
All right. That takes us to the acts themselves. Now the show's starting. Now I want to try to keep this part as spoiler-free as I can.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to give away some of the secrets and things like that go on through it. And the reason is because, hey, they were fun, and I want to see if if other people figure them out too.
Yeah.
But still, there may be some spoilers inbound. You don't know what may slip out. May do one unintentional. Just keep that in mind. Also, we're not going to go in order of the acts. We can't remember them all now.
Yeah.
No, we can remember all the acts, but not necessarily the order.
Right.
And it's not important. The order can probably change on a dime anyway.
Yeah.
For us, though, when we went, the show was bookended by just two of the most amazing acrobatic acts I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. The first one was like 4 parallel bars set up in a square with 4 gymnasts who were like swinging in and out of each other and crossing. It was like, dude, what the fuck? How many times did you kick each other in the face practicing this?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and they were also dressed as zombies and shuffling whenever they weren't on the bars. Yeah.
They would go from like shuffling, like being like thriller zombies.
Yeah.
To just on the bars.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And the last one, the big climax, was the Wheel of Death.
Right.
Which is the big hamster wheel thing that spins around the giant pendulum-looking thing. It's kind of hard to describe, but you've probably seen it at other circuses. Sometimes it has hamster wheels on both ends,
Right.
but this one only had one, and it was just, they were both mind-blowing acts. The first had incredible coordination and timing and some really great, like I said, acting on the floor. And the second was just the courage and the feats, and
Yeah.
I was genuinely amazed at how well he did. And he was so confident up there that he would pretend to mess up sometimes.
Yeah.
And the crowd goes, "Ah!"
Yeah.
You'd hear the gasps. He was that good.
Yeah.
They were just great acts, amazing. Also, there was a magic act, which made up most of the part after intermission.
Right.
That was really, really good. Now, I've killed some of this for myself. A while back, I went down a YouTube rabbit hole of how magic tricks are done. Shouldn't have done that. It was a mistake. But the timing was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, really good stuff.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job with it. You can tell they have really honed this. They've got everything down pat. They were very good at it. All in all, both the magician and the three lovely assistants, plus toward the end, the fourth and fifth who showed up
Right.
kind of spontaneously, were just great.
Yeah.
They were amazing. Now, the things that we were more dicey on,
Right.
and this is one thing that I was kind of interested in, was because it's a one-ring circus. So, like the parallel bars we described,
Right.
if they're going to transition from that to a different act, they have to have the stage crew come out and take everything down.
Yeah.
Now, they're fast. They're very fast at this.
Right.
But they still got to kill some time. And the way they did that was they had a vulgar little person clown come out and do a routine and basically entertain the crowd.
Yeah.
And honestly, to me, it often came across as rapey and slimy rather than funny.
Yeah. There was lots of humping.
Lots of humping, lots of threatening to shove faces down girls' cleavage, things like that. It got pops from the audience, but I can't tell how much of the laughter was awkward versus actual laughter.
Yeah.
I think it was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And it was clear at least some of the subjects were very uncomfortable.
Right. Well, and that's not the only part that something like that happens.
Yeah, it happens multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and one where men were checked for size.
Yes. Oh
Lightly.
God, they had their genitals touched.
Yeah.
We'll say.
Yeah.
That was awkward too. And
Yeah.
but I'll say this is definitely how the show earned its R rating, quote unquote R rating.
Yeah.
Because realistically, the show itself doesn't have any significant violence.
No.
Not like anything you wouldn't see in a regular PG movie violence.
Right.
And most of it's in the magic act, where it's obviously not violence. That's the whole point.
Right. Yeah.
And there's no nudity. Not much talking during the acts at all. They're acrobatic acts typically.
Right. There's only one character who talks a lot.
And that little person clown.
Oh, okay, two then.
Okay.
I was talking about in the main acts in the
Okay.
ring.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where it earns that adult rating, basically,
Right.
is in this stuff. There was also an act where there were 4 real members from the crowd
Yeah.
brought on stage and told to act out a scene that was being fake filmed.
Right.
But the thing was, the explanations for what to do was being done through pantomime, grunts, and gesticulations, we'll
Right.
say. It was funny
Yeah.
to watch these guys struggle and one of them get fired completely. Because some people can't take directions under the best of conditions, as we
Right.
know. But it also went on really, really long.
Yeah, and I think that part of that might be the lack of ability to take direction.
Yeah, I think it is. I think
don't-
it literally took 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I don't know if other audience participants would be that slow.
Yeah, we had kind of a dumb group. Gotta be honest. Well, okay, let me
I
rephrase
meant
that.
slow time-wise, but sure.
Well, no, okay, let me rephrase that. We only had one person that was really dumb in the group. But that's all it takes to mess up completing the scene.
Well, and they were given a role where you were humiliating
Yeah.
yourself. And if you have any kind of public fear of being on stage, you're not going to want that role.
Yeah, that's true. And it's also a general fear of public performance and anxiety at all.
Yeah.
Any of the roles are going to be rough. You're going to have a hard time focusing.
Exactly. I'm glad I wasn't called up.
I'm glad that was the only time I got messed with by the performers, but they immediately rejected me.
Yes.
They decided I wasn't a manly enough man.
Exactly.
Lover, not a fighter, guys. Sorry. There were plenty of other acts. There was a Silks performer who, hey, I am straight, but that was one damn good-looking dude. You know what I mean?
He was pretty.
There was a ground ring performer. There was a high ring performer. And there were several other smaller acts. There was a plate spinning act.
Right.
A lot of this stuff... Now, this is where we're kind of in a unique position, both as haunters and as New Orleanians.
Right.
We've seen a lot of these types of acts before.
Right. There's aerial schools here.
Yeah. We went to a haunted house in an aerial school.
Yeah, we did. It was interesting.
It was bizarre. It was interesting, bizarre, but also kind of cool. But yeah, we have tons of burlesque shows. We have local circuses, aerial schools, things like that. If you don't see these things very commonly, they're going to be much more impactful. They're all very good, amazing performers.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
No.
These are top flight performers. But I've seen similar acts. Like the entire act wasn't new to me.
Right.
It just made it feel a little less special to me personally, I guess. Mm-hmm. Because even though they were good and probably better than the other acts of that type I've seen, having seen that type of act before, took some of the freshness out of it.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And yeah, I mean, and it's clear that others in the audience did not have those experiences we did.
Right.
And so for them, it was very new, very fresh, and they were enthralled by it every second. Right. And I was still enthralled by it, but not quite to the same extent I think that other people in the crowd were.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And that's reasonable, I think. So this brings us to the advice if you go.
Yeah.
The first piece of advice is definitely to go.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Tickets are relatively cheap. You can get the tickets we're going to advise you to get for $30 each. Mm-hmm. It's not bad. It's assigned seating. You get to pick your seats. I do advise you to buy online.
Right.
But definitely go. It's a rare event. It's a special event. And there's a lot for haunters to learn. Mm-hmm. I would say arrive 30 to 40 minutes early. I think 45 is a little too much even. The hour that we did was way too much.
Right. And there will be intermission and there will be time afterwards also to hit up the
You're not going to get like ushered out.
Right.
So yeah, be focused on that. If you don't get to peruse the souvenir stand fully or whatever, you'll have a second crack at it.
Yeah.
A second and third crack technically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say arrive about 30 minutes early so you can check out all the things and still be there in time, plenty of time from when they open up into haunted attraction part.
Right.
Do be prepared for vulgar sexual language specifically aimed at possibly you.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of audience participation in that.
Yeah. And a lot of that's because, like I said, they're tearing down one set, putting up another. Mm-hmm. What they have to do is they have to get the audience focus off the stage.
Right.
While they do that, so what they do is they have the performers come into the crowd or into the strip in front of the main stands to do things.
Right.
And they put the spotlight on them, they darken the stage, and that way they can do the change out in peace. There's no nudity or sexual themes in the show itself. There's not even any offensive language in the show itself. It's usually this interstitial stuff where it happens.
Right.
But yeah, the audience interaction can get pretty sexual.
Yeah. And also, the spotlight on the performer in the front is a good lesson in lighting and getting attention where you want it.
Yeah, it is.
If you haven't learned that yet.
All right. So if you're buying tickets, my main advice is don't spring for VIP.
Yeah.
The reason is this. It's kind of awkward how it's set up. They have 2 rows on the floor right in front of the stage, basically. Yeah. And then they have a wide, alley between those 2 rows and the actual stands, the risers. Mm-hmm. We got front row of the risers.
Yeah.
So we were basically 6 feet behind the first VIP row. And we saved $20 a ticket.
Right.
And we were elevated slightly so we could see over them easily. Mm-hmm. But also the other problem is, since so much of the activity takes place in that alley between the VIP and the risers,
right,
everyone in the VIP had to turn around in their seats to see what the hell was going on.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't get as much of the show interaction.
No.
As the rest
They
of
did
us.
get a fair amount of interaction because they were right there at the stage. Because
Right.
usually these would start on the stage and then quickly come out into that area.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did get interaction, especially those sitting right at the front in the VIP. But yeah, you miss a lot of this interstitial stuff that they're doing, and that's a big part of the show time-wise. So I would not want to be spending a significant amount of time trying to turn around in those seats.
Yeah.
The cheap seats at the very back, you save only $10, and they
Yeah.
are pretty damned high up.
They also don't look like they'd be bad seats.
They don't
though.
know.
I don't think there's a bad seat in the place, basically.
I think the only potentially bad seats would be at the extreme sides.
Yeah, try to get in the middle.
If you get in the middle section, I don't think there's a bad seat at all.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't think saving the $10 is worth it on those seats and the cheap ones.
Yeah.
The red zone, I think they call them, where we sat in the black.
Right.
So yeah, my advice is to get black seating, which is the risers, all but the last 2 rows, as close to the stage as possible toward the center.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. There's no bad views in the house that I could think of or fathom, but those are definitely the best seats in my book.
Yeah.
Also, bring cash beforehand. This was the lesson that we screwed up. We had to go get the cash.
Right.
T-shirts are expensive there. They are $30 each.
Right.
So if you want a T-shirt and food, bring $50 a person.
Yeah.
If you just want food, I'd say $20 will get you plenty.
Yeah.
You could probably get by on 10, honestly, for one person.
Yeah, because it was reasonable prices.
Yeah, the food
on
prices were
and
pretty reasonable and pretty
concessions.
good. The souvenir prices were high, but the food was reasonable.
Yeah.
Also, another mistake we made is we kind of pooped ourselves out. We didn't stick around afterward. They have a really great meet and greet thing going on. Take photos and spend time with the performers.
Yeah.
Something to consider. It looked like everyone was having a lot of fun. We checked out because we were tired.
Yeah.
And we're old.
Well, that and I was preparing for a show. So
Yeah, and you had
I
to get
back to work.
So, long story short, be prepared to hang on a little bit afterward too.
Yeah.
All right, for haunters, lessons. Finally, this is Haunt Weekly. So we
Yeah.
can talk about some haunter stuff. So I just sort of jotted down a bunch of lessons I came away with from this. I think they're all pretty good. One, a little professionalism can go a very long way. These guys have some pretty significant limitations in that they have to be able to tear down and bring everything up in a matter of days.
Right.
They can't do a lot of the things a permanent installation can do.
Yeah.
They have to use a tent. They have to do, like hot dog cart type things for the souvenir, for the boot, for the food stands and so forth. But they spent some time and some money on professional graphic design on everything. All of the tractor trailers have the logo on it and very prominently. All the food concessions and all that had very professionally done signs and lighting.
Yeah.
It didn't take much energy, and I doubt it took much money, but it really went a long way to show.
It's a good investment.
It's a good investment because it made it look like a professional product.
Right. Well, and it is.
It is.
But yes.
But here's the thing. Like
it increases expectations when things look really well put together.
Exactly.
They're branded.
And it makes it seem more worth the money too.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the things, like going to this, we didn't know really what to expect in terms of it. Because I've been to circuses that were literally in mud lots, and
right.
And I've been to high-end circuses before. I used to go to circuses in the Carolina Coliseum in South Carolina as a kid. These really high-end Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey shows.
Yeah.
This was in between those two, but it leaned more toward the latter side. And what I think pushed it there was the better signage. I mean, the signage in general was great. Everything was well marked and signed. Where the restrooms were, where to enter at, where to exit at, the rows for the seating. Everything was well marked. And the big warning signs, don't take video and photography. All those signs were excellent. They did great signage all around. It added a lot to the professionalism. And I would say punch above their weight compared to what they should have been able to do with something you tear down and put up that quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The attention to detail was also really, really good. Everything on the set Everything on the stage, from the set behind it to the props they used, was detailed very well. They weren't super high quality or expensive detailing.
Right.
I'd imagine you couldn't quickly move a realistic looking coffin.
Right.
You probably don't want an actual casket in this case, because it's got to get in the fucking truck and drive around the country.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to do that. But they added details and embellishments, and they made it all fit together.
Yeah.
And like a great example was during the very first act, the parallel bars, the gymnast had the basins with the chalk for their hands. Mm-hmm. Those were decorated in bones and looked like evil chalices, kind of.
Right. And there was a facade that everybody came out of,
Yeah.
all the performers came out of, that looked like, it felt like a hellscape.
Yeah, like a hellscape castle thing.
Or church.
Yeah. It was hard to say which it was, but it looked awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is what it was. It was awesome.
Yes.
The stands for the plate spinning act
Yeah.
were made out of quote unquote bones.
Right. Yeah. They had put some plastic bones over the poles that the plates spin on.
Yeah.
Which was a nice little touch.
Yeah. It was very subtle, very simple.
Yeah.
Probably didn't take much time or money, but it definitely added a lot to the show. It showed
Right.
that they were looking at it and trying to make it all mesh together. Mm-hmm. Everything. The importance of a unique experience. Paranormal Cirque works because it's a unique experience. If it comes into town, you only got 4 or 8 days to attend. There's 6 shows per weekend, and it's something that probably you've not seen before.
Right.
And frankly, may never see again. Even if they come back in town, it probably won't be the same show.
Yeah. We'll have to test that if they come back next
Yeah,
year.
we will. But if they come back next year, I'm definitely going to test it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a unique experience that you can't get any other time, any other place.
Right.
I like that.
Me too.
Next, promotion doesn't have to be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Because it offers something unique and something that people want to see, and it has this big presence. Promotion can be cheap. They do the social media campaign and the PR blitz. Yeah, it's all very professionally done. I'm not saying they're like
Right.
slacking.
No.
But they're not weighing themselves like complicated media buys.
Right.
They're not worrying about what size newspaper ads they should buy in the Times-Picayune paper.
Yeah.
They're not, you know what I mean? They're cutting out the gruff, and they're skipping straight to the things that they know work for them, and they focus and do those few things very, very well. Mm-hmm. And the goal of their promotion clearly was to be a spark, light a fire, and let word of mouth take over.
Yeah.
I mean, for every ad I saw for it, and I saw a few,
Yeah.
I think I had 3 people tell me about it.
Yeah, I probably saw a few more ads than you did. But
yeah,
it's easy to market dark things to me. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we heard about it a ton of times.
Yeah.
And I definitely saw fewer ads than I heard in people telling me about it.
Right.
Next, creating an air of mystery. Mm-hmm. The Paranormal Cirque, if you read the site, doesn't explain too much about what it is.
No, it doesn't.
It's a circus. Mm-hmm. You can find clips of some of the acts on the site. They have like a teaser trailer type thing. It's about a minute long.
Yeah, it's a pretty good teaser.
It's a pretty good teaser, yeah. And then, by the way, you want to look at how to make a great teaser trailer for your haunt? Check out that teaser trailer.
Yeah.
It's worth a look.
It is.
But, what does it all mean? Mm-hmm. What's this thing called Paranormal Cirque? Now, it is important. We've talked about like content warnings in haunting before, about how you have to be upfront about the types of content you have, because you don't wish to trigger people with PTSD
Right.
or other issues. They do this very well here. They actually have very clear content warnings on the site all over. Mm-hmm. But they do it in a way that leaves the mystery about what it is, what's inside, and what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Next is the power of presence. This really was a reminder for me how some people just have a natural presence. Mm-hmm. I can't explain how they have it. Whether there's some people that when they walk into a room, everyone has to look at them.
Right.
That raven-haired woman was definitely one. Mm-hmm. And they put her front and center.
Yeah.
Not just during the opening, but during many of the acts. Mm-hmm. And afterward.
Yeah.
She was in the front and center in the queue line to get the photos taken.
Right.
With the cast.
Yeah. I also just want to touch really quick on the acting in general.
Yeah.
Because there's one performer in particular who plays several characters.
Yeah.
And if you want a quick study on how to change up your character, go and see this and watch the guy that's there most of the time.
Yeah.
Because it does change.
Oh, yeah. Well, and what he does and how he behaves, he, at various points, is a badass.
Yeah.
At various points, he's a putz who got yanked, who got, who's being thrown around against his will. Yeah, he's silly.
He's silly. He's
clueless. He's everything.
Yeah.
He does a little bit of everything in that.
Exactly.
And he carries it all well. I think the badass might have been his weakest run.
Yeah, but
he still did it well enough.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a change in demeanor and personality that goes with the character. Little things like slouching or looking at your feet when you walk.
Yeah.
If you're trying to play someone who's unsure.
Yeah, like I noticed when he was in the badass phase, he was leaning forward constantly. He's always opening his arms and presenting himself. Right. Where when he was in the more meek mode, he was in, just the schlub mode, so to speak. We'll say he had his hands enfolded in front of him. He was taking tiny steps. Right. His shoulders were slouched.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's close acting versus big,
boisterous
broad,
moves. Yeah.
Look at me, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a good point. And the final two, because we were almost at time, the importance of fun.
Yeah.
Everything about this experience was geared toward being fun first, scary second. Okay, some of the rapey stuff might not be seen as fun,
right?
Especially for the people that are being subjected to it. But but the whole experience is geared toward fun. Yes, there's a sense of danger. Yes, there are startles both in the haunted attraction and yes on stage. But it is about fun ultimately, and everyone in there left with a smile on their face.
Yeah.
You can tell a lot about what a crowd thinks about something by I guess you would say, the pitch of the conversation.
Right.
Conversations have happy pitches,
and
they have very, very sad pitches.
Yeah.
Everyone had a happy pitch.
Yeah.
They were very happy as they were leaving, and that was a very good thing.
Happy and active.
Yes, and so that was very, very good. Mm-hmm. And the final pull-out. Nicole's catching up.
It is. Well, you've been talking a lot.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Someone's at the door. Mail's here.
Sorry
about that. I forgot to mute my laptop. That's my fault. But no, finally, focus on secondary money-earning opportunities. Mm-hmm. As I was leaving, I started thinking about how much we actually spent. And this was without getting souvenirs.
Right.
I think, honestly, our tickets were only about half of what we spent.
Yeah. That's probably true.
Because they provide concessions, souvenirs, photo ops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there was a photo op during
face painting,
the intermission, too.
And multiple photo ops, to be very clear. There was one during intermission, and there was one afterward, both of which were paid photo ops.
Right.
I believe they were paid photo ops.
I'm not sure about the one afterward, but the one in the middle was.
I could not stay in that line and test that one. May or may not have been. If it's not, it probably should have been.
Yeah. Anyway.
But for most people, and I suspect the ticket was about half of what they spent. Could you imagine if every customer at your haunt spent double what their ticket was?
Yeah.
In revenue? Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, it would be. That'd be nice.
It's a way to double your revenue by offering these types of things, especially if you offer something that's unique and really adds to the experience. Like, even though we forgot about the face painting lady because neither of us wanted our faces painted.
I looked at what she had to offer and I just...
Nothing inspired you?
Yeah, I wasn't feeling inspired.
Well, everyone else was.
Yep.
She was busy.
She was.
She was working. Even with our relatively modest crowd, she was busting her ass. Mm-hmm. Just something else to think about. There's plenty of opportunities there at hand, and they are exploiting every single one. You could even argue that their quote-unquote ATM is an attempt to exploit that.
Yeah.
Even though that one has me a little bit more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because,
Anyway. One thing that I would say, is make sure that everything is priced and that you can see the prices readily. The customers can, because that's one issue that I had.
Yeah.
Because I'm not someone that likes to go up to booths and
how much
talk
is this?
to people.
How much is this? How much is this?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's annoying, and you feel like you're grading on the person, that even though they're paid to help you, or they're
right,
it's their job to help you and job to do this, and they could have simply chosen to tag everything.
Yeah.
You feel like you're annoying them.
Yeah.
I get that. Well, I've got nothing else. I think we covered it.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for joining us for this past hour as we reminisce about the Paranormal Cirque. Hopefully some interesting tips and ideas flew out of it.
Yeah.
This is
Hopefully you'll get to see it in person.
Yes, I hope so. Like I said, they are touring. Next up is Lafayette, then Lake Charles, then Alexandria, and then into Arkansas for a few shows in various places that I have no idea where the hell they are, because I know nothing about Arkansas.
I know very little.
Anyways. But yes, thank you for joining us for the past hour or so as we go a little bit over, it looks like. This has been Haunt Weekly, episode number 177, talking about the Paranormal Cirque. Until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we will see you guys next time.